welcome to Big Bang Radio Spotlights. This is a show where we talk to independent artists from all around the world all about their music and their process for making it. I'm your host, Isaac Anderson, and today I get to sit down with the band Neighbor Lady. Without any further ado, here's the interview. Well guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate it. I want to start at the beginning of your musical journey, just like we do with all the other artists that we talk to on the show. And the first question I want to ask you is, what is your earliest musical memory?
I think my mom stuck me in a church musical when I was a kid. And I remember getting to sing songs dressed up as a star. That was really great.
I think my first real concert that I remember going to with my parents was we went to go see Cher on her Life After Love tour in 2000 or in 96 or whatever that was. So that was probably not my first musical memory, but a notable early one.
When I was super young, my parents used to take me down to just the boardwalk or something, and we'd watch a jazz band play every weekend. And I remember I would just dance to it, and one of the jazz musicians came up to my dad and was like, "That boy has the rhythm in his bones." Like a little kid was feeling it.
My family was pretty musical. My grandma taught piano, and every Christmas and every Thanksgiving we would watch this will check out for the rest of the band, but we always watched the Charlie Brown specials. So I remember just being really, really young and hearing those Christmas songs for the first time, and I just fell in love with that stuff. So I feel like that, I don't know, that was kind of when I first started to really like and want to play piano, and then start music from there.
Do you guys remember the first time you got in front of an audience and played live? Not necessarily a Neighbor Lady, but just in general as musicians.
Mortified. Yes, it was in high school, and me and my friend, we wrote a song for our senior class, and it was so bad, but we got up in front of the whole school and sang it. I think that was probably the first time performing original music in front of a crowd.
Probably have a similar experience with that, as being in middle school and starting your first band. And yeah, I just remember joining this band and not realizing that I was going to be the singer, but nobody else was volunteering to do it. So I was like, I guess I'll be the singer. And, yeah, just a mortifying experience, but yeah.
I remember being in late middle school, and I had transferred schools, and there was only 4 guys in our class, and we all decided to form a band, and we played a show. Andrew, you might be familiar with this place. I don't know since y'all didn't grow up, but the Red Light Cafe. It's this little tiny venue in Atlanta where all the basically young bands would start out playing, and we played 2 original songs, but we introduced them as covers because we were really self-conscious and we wanted to see if anybody noticed. So we just said they were covers of some other band, and yeah, I mean, that must have been when we were 13 or 14, but that was probably the first time.
My first time playing original music was at a barbecue restaurant called Maddie's, which was in sort of the part of Atlanta that I lived in. And there was this guitar teacher that taught a lot of students at my high school and a lot of my friends. And he had a running gig every Thursday. And I think it was the first Thursday of every month he would have his students come do a little showcase thing. And at the end of the night, he would let anybody that had a band come and play a couple songs, which was really funny because it was just a greasy barbecue restaurant. And yeah, my band in high school would do that, and then I ended up actually working at this barbecue restaurant for 4 years, and it was, if I ever write a book about anything, it will definitely be about this place because it's the most chaotic place I've ever heard of. It's crazy.
I believe Neighbor Lady started as your solo project, Emily, and it quickly became a full-fledged band. What was that process like trying to add members?
Neighbor Lady has had a couple of different iterations, and this one right now, once we all finally got together as what we are now, it's like taking on a whole new life. Everybody is, I don't know, everyone contributes something different to the band, and it's just, and we all like, you know, it's good. It's taking on a whole new life.
When I hear your music, there's just something about it that it has a really awesome blend of like indie rock and country western, and it really just draws me in. It has a really awesome infectious vibe to it. And I'm just curious, when it comes to writing, how exactly does that go for you guys? Do you guys tend to write together in the same room? Do you guys write things individually and bring them to each other? I don't know, how does that work?
I usually write the song first, like write the beginnings of the song on guitar, and then I bring it to the group, and then we kind of work through it, make it a lot better.
I was the last member to join this group, so a lot of the songs, the majority of the songs on the new record were done before I came in. But something that's been really cool about the process of I guess fine tuning those songs is that even 2 years after we recorded them, it's like we'll be sitting in practice and I'll kind of look up and make eyes with Andrew or Jack or Emily and be like, what if we tried this here? Or Jack will come in, or somebody will just throw out an idea, and it's like the songs don't stay static. It's like everybody's continually trying to be involved in like that writing process, even after things are quote unquote done, which is really cool. And like the ideas are always really, really welcome in this group, which I think is why it makes it what it is.
Yeah, I think that's the cool thing that doesn't get talked about too much with music. It's like once the song's recorded, doesn't mean that song is done. It's like it can keep going, keep changing. I feel like Andrew consistently does this with his own songs. He plays in a band playing it called Semicircle, and he'll come in and be like, I have a whole new part for this song. We're gonna change the chords. And I'm like, oh wow, okay. It's cool to see.
I want to hop onto your location right now. So you guys are located in Atlanta, Georgia, which I know is a really awesome place for indie music and just musicians as a whole. But just from people that live there and play there all the time, how exactly has that area influenced your sound?
The sound was there before we got to Atlanta, but I feel like we're all pushed as musicians here, just seeing all the other great live acts to be better musicians, a better live band.
I think the fun thing about being in Atlanta as well is there is a lot of like infrastructure for indie music, especially like over the past like 5 years or so. So it's fun to kind of like be who we are and like do what we're doing and like be in the very fortunate position to be able to like take advantage of some of these people that work on crazy projects that happen to live in Atlanta. And I think it just draws a lot of talent to the city because of that. Like you do kind of get the sense that for a long time it was like anyone in the Southeast would gravitate towards Atlanta, and now it's become like a huge national thing. Like there's so many people from California and LA coming to Atlanta now. There's a really pretty mind-boggling pool of talented people in the city, like right now especially. It's amazing.
I want to hop onto your new record right now. It's called For the Birds, and it was produced by Jason Kingsland at Diamond Street Studios. What were some big takeaways that you got when recording that? And I don't know if you guys recorded that during like the pandemic, lockdowns and everything, but I don't know, how was the process of recording?
We actually started recording that maybe like a week or two before the pandemic started.
For
And
lockdown.
yeah, before lockdown, it was pretty crazy because we were actually supposed to record it in a completely different studio. And I think a day or two before we like got it figured out and that we were going to be in Diamond Street Studios. So it was all, we just kind of had to be okay with everything being kind of hectic then. But I think our plan was to be in like a big room outside of the city recording this album, and Diamond Street Studios is like a tiny little shoebox of a studio. So it was like the opposite of what we had pictured in our minds. But I don't know, it was a super fun experience. We were in there every day for 2 weeks almost, you know, and I'm super happy with what we made, but I feel like we took a lot of what we did and since the pandemic happened right after that, and just kind of worked on it at home after that, and recorded a lot of things over it after that.
Awesome. Well, if people want to keep up with Neighbor Lady, how can they find you guys online?
Instagram and all of the streaming services, Spotify, Apple Music, but mostly Instagram for like touring and updates and such.
Well, guys, it has been a pleasure talking to you. I really appreciate you taking the time. But before you go, I got one more question. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen a Big Bang Radio Spotlight before, but I'm a musician, but I also love film. And I believe those two worlds aren't too far away from each other, especially for musicians. So, before you go, what is your favorite movie?
Shrek 2.
Right now, my favorite movie is probably Phantom Thread. It's a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I saw it pretty recently, and the soundtrack is incredible from it. It's a Johnny Greenwood thing. It's beautiful.
Mine would be In the Mood for Love. Great film by Wong Kar-wai with amazing score. It's like Nat King Cole singing in Spanish throughout the whole thing.
I really love this movie called The Great Beauty, which is like this Italian art house film that is like this very meandering thing, but it's like kind of like magical realism in a way. It's kind of hard to describe. Like, you're not really sure what it's about, but I love it. Also very like visually engaging, which I love that. So
Thanks to Neighbor Lady for sitting down with us and talking all about their music. If you guys want to see more interviews just like this, you can find us online at Studio 67 NCC. Thank you all for watching. I'm Isaac Anderson, and until next time, stay lovely.